There is an urgent need for Nigeria to position itself as an export powerhouse amidst the growing global demand for Nigerian products and services. Research shows that Nigeria can capitalize on this opportunity. Industry players are confident that the country can foster stronger regional cooperation through upscale production, collectively building a more resilient, diversified, and robust export sector. What are some of the key products that are in high demand globally? What are industry experts suggesting to enhance Nigeria's trade and enable the continent to tap into emerging markets, strengthening trade relationships with the world? We will also examine government plans to stimulate investment and growth within Nigeria's vast renewable energy subsector. Welcome to Business 24. I am Vivian Ezadifi. Stay with us as we dive into the stories and share expert tips to help grow your business and improve your export readiness.
Oga, madam, your hustle is hot. What? Are you thinking global? Now only Naija you sef wan conquer. Imagine your products gracing the shelves of Harrods in London. Your brand trending in Times Square, New York. Stop dreaming small. The world is your market. The Next Gen Export Summit 2025 is your passport to international success. The Next Gen Export Summit isn't just a conference. Learn from industry experts who have been there, done that, and made the millions. Mark your calendars, April 25th and 26th, 2025. Virtual, affordable, and incredibly powerful. For just 2,000 Naira, you get access to knowledge that could transform your business forever. Register now on the website you see on your screen. Next Gen Export Summit 2025. The world is ready for you.
It's good to have you join us. If you're just tuning in, this is Business 24, where we'll bring you the latest economic trends, as well as everything related to trade and exports. Business 24 is proudly powered by Nigerian Export Hub, Next Hub. Clearly, the demand for Nigerian goods and services on the global stage is increasing by the day as producers and farmers work to upscale the production and quality of key commodities and services to meet these demands. What are some of these key products and what other emerging commodities could be game changers for Nigeria? Most importantly, how can the growth trajectory be sustained? Let's hear from some of the key players.
You can think of black sesame seed that we have and the varieties we have. You cannot close a deal without knowing your own home, what you have, the rating, and most of it. Who will tell you baobab tree? We all know baobab tree, which is popularly called as kuka. And that baobab tree, from the leaf, is needed. We have cassia tora, which they are calling it this seed that is even in Abuja city, you can pick bags of it if you stay one day just going around. It's free, which is tafasa seed. And Chinese now currently are buying it just a kilo. They started off from 5,000 per kilo, now up to 10,000. Like the French embassy, when they come, they like all those things. And guess what? I tried them. Just laboratory analysis I asked for. Oils, this moringa oils and palm kernel oil, 600,000. How much is NAFDAC taken? I gave them honey to also give me the laboratory analysis. Over 400,000, because they have tested our product that they have taken before to their own country and exported somewhere else. And they insist that very one we want. And they know they source it from Nigeria.
It's now easier because for us to now connect these exporters to these commodity traders. So it's making it very easy for these commodity traders to actually be able to sell their wares faster. And of course, the market channel has now widened that the exporters, because majorly we have our warehouse in China. and we know the commodity that is allowed in that region. So based on that, they already know what they want. And we already have all these traders, we already know them. So it's easier for us to connect them together. And these exporters, they're actually seeing what they are buying. Because most of them, some of them don't even know what all these commodities are. They have not even seen cassia or sesame seed before in their lives. But when they come to our facility, they now hold it and they see the commodity themselves. And they are also part of who do all these things, as in from the cleaning to when the containers arrive, to the packaging, to the freeze, they were fully involved. So the exporters they now know how all these things operate. And of course, these traders, they already know that, yes, these people, they will buy so far you have your commodity and the price is good.
If Nigeria can be a producer of kilishi, I think it is going to be a sister of oil. Because I'm sure the kilishi will give Nigerians a lot of money. It's only that we need to, modernize it. Look at the facts. You can take this pack to anywhere in the world. If we can package our product, at least we won't have any problem. I think the kilishi business can give more than 8 to 9 million people job in Nigeria.
Nigeria is the only country in the world where you can harvest dates twice a year. Right now we're doing about 1.5 tons every month. If we don't begin to advocate for planting of date trees in Nigeria, because we have the climate, we have the entire, what we call the dates belt. We have Jigawa State, Kano, a bit of Taraba, all of those places. You can plant dates and they will thrive and do well. The potential of dates for national development, even in Nigeria, it can become like oil, because now, because of what we've done with this, people have seen that you can do so much. From the planting, the harvesting, the seeds have value. We also make date syrup from it. The seeds can be used for what we call date seed oil, are very good for skin care. And then beyond that, the climate change issues. Dates can be used to sequester carbon. It can solve part of and then desertification. They can be used to, planting date trees can push back desertification, particularly in this northern area. So there's a whole lot of value that dates can add to us as a nation beyond what we are doing as a small business.
The federal government, in collaboration with various development partners, has been actively pursuing initiatives to bridge the energy gap in the country, with a growing focus on harnessing renewable energy sources. These efforts are part of a broader strategy to achieve sustainable and environmentally friendly energy solutions. Recently, 5 prominent developers took a significant step forward in this regard by signing a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with the Rural Electrification Agency. This partnership aims to channel investment into Nigeria's promising renewable energy subsector, which holds the potential to transform the country's energy landscape. Let's now hear more from Tope Alabi as he sheds light on Nigeria's ongoing energy transition efforts.
Nigeria needs well over 63 gigawatts of power generation to satisfy unmet demand, but the country's energy mix requirements involve increasing renewable energy sources to meet growing demand and achieve carbon neutrality, with goals to generate 30,000 megawatts from renewables and reach carbon neutrality by 2060. The National Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Policy 2022 includes a 30-30-30 scheme, planning to add 30 gigawatts of power capacity by 2030, with renewables contributing 30% of the country's energy mix.
The task of electrifying Nigeria as a country is not something that only the government would be able to execute. So we need collaborative effort between both the public and the private sector. And that is one of the reasons why REA have set up this framework of developing RESCOs to make sure they take their help to bridge the energy access gap.
Under the various interventions to provide electricity to communities, 1.2 gigawatts of photovoltaic PV panel assembly plant is to be established in the country.
And that clear mandate is nothing other than making Nigeria to be the renewable hub of West Africa. We have a total of about 86 million Nigerians without access. A number of people will see that as a challenge facing the country. But the present government, led by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, wants to capitalize on this challenge to turn it into opportunities. We want to leverage on these 86 million Nigerians that do not have access to make Nigeria to be the renewable hub of West Africa.
A $750 million investment fund has also been provided as seed capital for private developers to access under the Distributed Access Through Renewable Energy Scale-Up, and another 100 billion naira made available by the federal government for the solarization project of all public buildings, among other funding provided by international donor agencies. Rural Electrification Agency says the target is to make Nigeria the hub of renewable energy markets. It is expected that more developers and subnationals will leverage opportunities in the renewable energy subsector so as to close the energy gap in the country. For Business 24, Tokbe Alabi.
Nigerian Exporters Hub has been focusing on helping businesses tap into new market opportunities and adding value to agro-commodities value chain. Next Hub offers critical market intelligence and valuable networking opportunities that are contributing to the growth of Nigerian export industry. Here are the strategies it is adopting to strengthen Nigeria's export industry.
Navigating the complexities of international trade involves overcoming challenges such as meeting global standards, managing logistics, and addressing infrastructure and financing gaps. For many Nigerian producers, these barriers limit their access to global markets. To change this narrative, Victor Ayemere, Group Managing Director, Zinab Group, is transforming Nigeria's export sector through the Nigerian Exporters Hub, Next Hub. The platform is designed to provide local producers with essential tools and support, simplifying the export process and enhancing their ability to compete on the global stage.
We are the operator of the Nigerian Export Trade House in China and the Far East region. So within last year, our major export was to China. We even collaborated with the Nigerian Exporters Hub, which is like a sister company to Zenith. And for the year 2024, we were able to move commodities like cassiatura and mica, the solid mineral side, to China, and of course sesame seed also. We are looking at Chad, we are looking at Benin Republic. We are trying to cover the very neighboring countries first before we start moving to countries such as Kenya and any other one, South Africa, various countries within the African continent. So we are very sure we will do all that we have to do to make sure we make it a success. And for us, again, we, the Nigerian Exporters Hub, we work together. And it's actually to see how to make the dream of the federal government to see how most of the commodities that we see in Nigeria is being pushed to other countries, how to materialize that. That is why we set up that. And we are working together to see how we can not only be the one to export as an organization, Sina Food, but also have Mr. Mohammed, Shikira, Aisha, John Boo, and every other person join us.
It's now easier because for us to now connect these exporters to these commodity traders. So it's making it very easy for these commodity traders to actually be able to sell their wares faster. And of course, the market channel has now widened that the exporters, because majorly we have our warehouse in China and we know the commodity that is allowed in that region. So based on that, they already know what they want. And we already have all these traders, we already know them. So it's easier for us to connect them together. And these exporters, they're actually seeing what they are buying. Because some of them don't even know what all these commodities are. They have not even seen cassia or sesame seed before in their lives. But when they come to our facility, they now hold it and they see the commodity themselves. And they are also part of who do all these things, as in from the cleaning to when the containers arrive, to the packaging, to the freeze, they were fully involved. So the exporters they now know how all these things operate. And of course, these traders, they already know that, yes, these people, they will buy so far you have your commodity and the price is good.
Next Hub is focused on addressing key export gaps, empowering Nigerian exporters with the resources to meet international standards, improve product quality, and ultimately boost foreign exchange earnings for the country, all under the leadership of Babatunde Falike.
We can export everything, but the truth is that in what quantity? I think the major problem we have now is quantity and cost. The number of what we produce now, we consume more. Here, we are the number 1 producer of cassava in the world. But how many of you do we export? I will tell you nothing, because that means we need to produce more. Again, you will see the cost of production is very high. The cost of fund is about 40% now. Who will survive in that situation? No problem. So we need to engage. Where we don't control funds, but we engage with the financial sector to ensure that people trading in commodities or farming get, 1-digit loan. And we are talking with the Bank of Industry, we are talking with the Bank of Agri, we are talking with Nexim, we are engaging everywhere, we are agreeing Afrexim, we are agreeing AFTA on how to support, because scaling up production is the number 1 thing we need to do if you want to take advantage of the world.
Next Hub's commitment to empowering Nigerian producers and connecting them with global markets is a pivotal step in transforming Nigeria's export sector by overcoming infrastructure gaps, financial constraints, and compliance challenges.
Now, let's bring you some essential export and business tips to help you stay competitive.
Sanitary and phytosanitary, it basically speaks to things like pesticide residue, pest. How do you manage pest? How do you manage pest infestation, for instance? How do you manage storage? How do you manage your hygiene, for instance? Those are the requirements for sanitary and phytosanitary. Basic food safety. How do you just ensure that the raw material is being sorted, is being refrigerated? For instance, if it needs refrigeration or kept in a cool place based on the required temperature, how do you clean? How do you handle? How do you store? What kind of processing facility are you using? Is it processing facility that has the required food grade materials, the packaging, packaging, what kind of packaging? Phytosanitary basically is even at the level of production. That is where you find phytosanitary, because that is where you have the issue of pest. How do you manage pest? How do you manage weed? How do you manage the chemicals that you put in the field? What are you doing in terms of, if you are a primary producer, what do you do in the field so that you just ensure that you bring out safe food? And then when you now move from the primary production to the processing, then you now begin to think about food safety, good hygiene practices, good warehouse practices, all of, to avoid, how do you avoid contamination and all of those kind of things? What kind of additives do you use? What is your labeling? What is your packaging? What kind of processing equipment do you use to process products, especially when you have like a target audience? So if you are processing baby food, what does international standards and best practices require? What kind of equipment should you use? Is it different from the equipment that you would use if, for instance, you are processing for adults and all of that? Those are the kind of things that, and how does your processing affect the food at the end of the day? Does it leave some residue in the food because of the way and manner it is being processed, or the kind of equipment that you are using and all of that? If you have additives that you are using for preservation, how does it affect human life at the end of the day when they have injected whatever it is that they have bought from you? Product like cowpea, we know that it has a lot of pest issues. Number one, when it comes to the issue of, let's even start from primary production. That traceability system has to begin from primary production. And from primary production, you have to think about what kind of cowpea do you want to produce?
what kind of chemicals are you going to use, if any? Because for me, I always advocate. So I'm an advocate of less chemical or no chemical at all. If you can, no chemicals at all, so that people don't eat poison in the name of trying to eat food. And then what kind of chemicals do you use for weed control? What kind of pesticide do you use for pest control? Do you even wait for the life cycle of the pesticide or the herbicide that you have used to expire before you harvest? When you harvest, what is your post-harvest? How do you handle post-harvest handling? What kind of chemical is available for storage of the cowpea? There are even traditional methods that people have. I remember in the 80s when people store cowpea with chili. So you put chili in it, then you won't have any weevils, for instance. And there are hermetic bags, for instance, now that, help to ensure that whatever weevils must have invaded that product, that it doesn't grow because of the technology that is around it. And there are also other safe methods of preservation of cowpea, because I believe that the contamination when it comes to cowpea might not even be more from primary production, but at the storage, when local buying agents buy, for instance, or aggregators buy, and because it's a business and they are trying to just ensure that they are not overrun by weevils and ensure that the container you're going to use is cleaned. Because again, these containers have carried different things. You don't know what was in it prior to the time that you hired it to be used to carry your consignment. You clean it, you get all the necessary documentation, from phytosanitary certificate, from quarantine to health certificate, to all the certificates, certificate of origin and all of that, and then you export. So it's mandatory for people to obtain phytosanitary certificate. From quarantine, you need health certificate, and then you also need certificate from some certificate from custom, because custom will be the last agency, and then you need some inspection certificate sometimes if the client request for it. So the additional certificates sometimes that they would request for, some of them will request for SGS certificate, for instance, for what is called pre-shipment inspection. So they take whatever it is that was given to you and ensure that if the invoice or the purchase order, if the purchase order, for instance, says it has to be 100 metric tons, for instance, or 30 metric tons, or 20 or 18 metric tons, that the quantity is correct, that the specifications are correct, that the packaging materials are correct, all of that will be done, and they will be the last people to seal the container before it leaves. But for other certificates, for instance, which are voluntary, for instance, what NISAT would give, if, for instance, you now say, okay, I'm exporting sesame as organic according to the USDA or the EU organic regulation, and you want to spell out on your cargo that it is organic, then the likes of NISAT, you would have to now get organic certificate according to the USDA or the EU organic regulation, depending on which of the country it will be going to. Or if they require other certificate like the HACCP, which is at the Hazards Analysis Critical Control Point, or they require other certificates which are voluntary. They are voluntary, but sometimes the market is arm twisting you. So basically, most of the time, it is the client who tells you the kind of certificates that they require. And based on that requirement, you will not. Then certificate of origin also is very important, because they want to know where the product is originating from. And that is gotten from NACIMA. I don't know if that has changed, but from the last time I checked, NACIMA gives the certificate of origin for products leaving the shores of Nigeria that is of Nigerian origin and is going to any part of the world.
What will be, will be.
No, 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 no. I don't agree with that music that what will be, will be. Dear Nigerian youth, it has been said that the best way to predict the future is by creating it. The future does not happen by chance. It is shaped by the actions we take today. Nigerian economy will not grow itself. Wealth will not create itself. Success in export will not happen by wishful thinking. You must learn, you must strategize, you must take specific actions. That is why the Next Gen Export Summit 2025 is not just an event, it is an opportunity. An opportunity for you to master the act of exporting. It is an opportunity you shouldn't miss. 10 a.m., 25th and 26th of April 2025. See you there.
And that is it on today's package of Business 24. We will be back with more trending issues in the world of business and more essentially, updates on expert opinions. I am Vivian Izadefi. Bye for now.